Hey guys, what's happening? This is not episode 5, this is going to be episode 4.5, okay, 4.5. I'm going to do a little more welding on my front end here that we just put together in the last video. I don't get a lot of comments on my channel, but I did comment to myself the other night when I watched my video back. And my comment to myself was, stop talking, start working. So that's what we're going to do, alright? I just want to get a couple more welds put into my front end. And then I can move forward with different, I need to trim this off, I need to figure out my steering, my linkages, and then my reinforcement. So once I get a little more weld on here, I want to weld these in nice and good, and then I'm going to work on the reinforcement after that. So, like I said, stop talking, start working. Went and got myself a decent welding helmet so I don't burn my eyes out. It's not the best of the best, but it's good enough for me, you know what I mean? No, I was talking about it in the last video, but I gotta tell you, for a little welder that I bought for just over $100, I have to look that up for you. I haven't looked it up. I wanted to and I forgot. But for a little welder, they got delivered to my door. It's pretty amazing what it can do. That's our weld right there. You see that? Quick little buzz. You watched me do it. Alright. So that's what we're looking at in that little welder. It's not a bad welder. It works great. And I'm very pleased with it, especially for the money. I have a big welder at work. A lot of us probably do. But for what I'm doing here, this thing is perfect. And this is flux core wire. This isn't even with gas. So if I go and get myself an argon bottle, I can't imagine how good it's going to do. So these guys right now, they're pretty secure in there. This is not going anywhere. It's welded in pretty good. And I got some pretty good penetration in the bottom of it. So I'm kind of happy with that. And I heard someone out there, I don't know who it was that's watching, but someone did say to me, because I heard it just now, is your hood gonna fit? That's what we're gonna look at now. And we'll put the hood on here and we're gonna see how far off we are, because these being up on top of the frame underneath instead of underneath it, we're definitely gonna have some issues. I did do a little hood flare out already. I flared the edges. I mean, I could always make it fit, but let's try and do this so it looks decent and doesn't look like a piece of junk. So I flared these bottoms out earlier a while back because I knew that I were going to have to. I don't want to trim this off really if I don't have to. I like the look. I can deal with it being flared out. I can make it nice. But we are hitting some stuff right now. It looks like there's some inner brackets here that are going to have to be reconfigured. I'm going to take a look-see in here. Come on over and you can see what we're doing. Hey, where are you going? How'd that ride go? Sorry. Now you're probably all busy. So yeah, now we got some inner brackets down in here. We need to take these bolts out. Push the hood down a couple times and see what we're hitting. Because whatever I have to trim up or remove, I have to replace because it's kind of structural to the hood. So it wants to go down, but I have some binding here and here, and I think these are going to have to be sucked in. That's all part of the grill hood assembly where it holds the plastic to the steel. So I think I'm going to have to do a little trimming there. Not much though. And depending on how that comes out, I might work this. I don't know yet. I'm going at it. Not a lot of plan here. Yeah, I heard that too. I just heard someone say, well, why don't you just space it out? That's a good idea. I didn't really think of that. If I undo these two, down here, this is the only thing holding the hood to the hinge and holding the grill to the hinge. Well, if I loosen these up, the hood will fall off on the floor. You guys will think that's funny because that's how you are. I'd love to have my little impact right now, but now you're just getting lazy. I think it's time to go trade in the old Craftsman because she's skipping gears. It's not really cool. So yeah, if I pull these screws out down here, which like I said, it's holding my hinge to my hood and my hood to my hinge, I could technically slide this forward a little bit. Let's just take it right off the hinge and see where the hinge ends up by itself. Okay. Hood's off the hinge is still there. Yeah, we're touching just a little bit. Got a little bit of touching going on. Now you're stuck on the lift. I'm telling you what, camera skills are terrible. So now as our hinge goes back, you can see we're hitting our arms here. So I could spread these out, but then it's not going to line up with the grill. My original bolt holes won't be working. Technically, I don't really need these. Because these edges bolt into here. And I could always cut it back and fabricate it. You know what I'm saying, right? Yeah, I figured. I could also go the harder route and move our bar out. I really don't want to do that. That's like a lot for nothing. Huh. Looks like I'm trimming, guys. You know, I'm just going to stick with these two main ones. That'll bolt to the grill, which holds to the hood. And I'm going to have to figure something out for the sides. I got to have side support for sure. But do they have to be this? I don't think so. And who's to say, if these brackets are hitting, who's to say the hood's going to fit on and the hood's not going to hit it too, because the hood's right here. So I might not have enough clearance anyway. So, you know what I'm saying. This has got to be a boring video. But if you weren't bored, you wouldn't be watching anyway, so. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I think I'm going to cut them. I'm going to cut these off. Is there anything else I want to think about before I cut them off? I think I want to trim them off right about here and here. And then I can bolt the hood back onto them and see what part of the hood is hitting. Also, the other thing I could do is I could make these a little deeper. That would move it all forward. Actually, probably lock on better too. Yeah, we really don't have the tooling to do that. I don't have the reamer. I don't have a reamer with me. All right. Made up my mind. Here's what I'm going to do. Because I know you're really interested in what I'm going to do. I'm going to, call me crazy, I'm putting strengthening bars on here anyway to help hold this front and back. And it's probably going to be the same material. So if I'm going to do that, I'm also going to be attaching to the front part. So what if I make a cut just on the other side of my weld here and here, and then when I put my strengthening bars in, I can just move this piece forward a little bit. I mean, you're probably saying to yourself, why didn't you just put this back? But I don't want it back. This is where I want it, as far as, for some unknown reason, these are my figures that I wanted. And I'm at about 50.5 inches from center to center on my axles, and that's kind of what I was looking for. Don't ask me why. It's just math that I figured out in my head. one night when I was sitting there dreaming things up. I could definitely do that, because this piece right now isn't, this piece has got to get reinforced anyway. So I could just reinforce it. I'm going to put my tubing on the bottom. So I'll just put the tubing on the bottom. I'll cut this off. I'll put my square tubes on the bottom of the frame, and I'll just slide this out a little bit. And that will get me out of this problem here. Because this is a nice, strong, thick bracket. I really don't want to modify it too much. I know I'm going to have to modify the hood, but I don't want to mess with the integrity of this bracket. So, there's the professional version of the way I think, which is kind of crazy. And you're probably shaking your head too. But if I'm going to tube this anyway. I might as well take this off. I'll move it forward. That'll clear. The hood will clear. I'll just have to spread it out. We'll be good to go. Great idea. I'm going to get on that. There we go. You know, my cutting preciseness, you'd think I was building a cup car or something, but I don't know. So I need to clean those up a little bit. And now I can move it forward. Whatever I need for space here on the hood hinge, I will just move it forward that much, which looks to be 1.5 inches out would be perfect. I mean, 1.5 inches out would be more than enough. And what made me think of that when we were going through all the other stuff in my brain that was happening before I made this decision is, I'm going to need a bumper, because you know I'm going to run into something, all right? And if I'm going to put a bumper, I'm going to mount it to the front frame of the original tractor. I better make it sturdy, because this thing will just bend right up and rip the hood off anyway. So when I run my channel through, I'm going to run it through. It's going to go right into here, and probably a nice crossbar right there made out of the same material. So I think that is a very good idea. That'll also give me my support I want here and my support in the front end. And more weight, because you know she's going to want to do wheelies. So I don't know if that's true. I just thought it was kind of funny. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to get this mess cleaned up. I'm going to try and get this thing maybe so I can flip it over. I'm going to do some thinking about that first, but you don't want to watch none of that, so I will get going on that, and then we'll come back. Alright, so I flipped it over. Went a little further than I thought I was going to, but I was in the mode, so I did it. I flipped it over. I cleaned up some metal. I cut some 1-foot pieces of material. I got my spacing correct, how I need to move this out for my hood to work. And I got it sitting where I want it to sit. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a tack in here on each side so I can take the clamps off and it'll hold. I possibly will put a couple tacks back in here on the side rails right here. And then I can take all my clamps off and see where we're at. So let's make some sparks. And speaking of sparks, when I noticed when I'm cutting with the cutoff wheel on the grinder, you might notice that the sparks are blowing into me. I'm doing that on purpose. I'd rather have them hit me. I like to know where the sparks are going. I say in every video, you guys have no clue what them little sparks can do, and I want to keep track of every one of them. And even though I do keep track of the sparks and I know where they're going, I'll be down here another hour after that, just making sure everything's kosher. Well, that's why that happens, in case you're wondering why I'm blowing the sparks into myself. That is why. All right, there goes the breaker. She's pulling enough power to pop the breaker, that's for sure. I really like this little welder. Very, very impressed. Especially with the flux core wire. It seems like the welder's small enough that it works really well with flux core. You get into the bigger welders and they just don't like it, but this one seems to be working pretty good with the flux core. I'm very happy with it. Alright, so I got a couple tacks. I got one tack there, tack there. I'm going to just slap a couple back here. Real small ones. Hopefully I don't set the grass and oil on fire that's on the tractor, like right there. Okay, that's about it right there. The old breaker says, you know what? That's enough of that, dude. I don't like it. I do have a lot of things. That's like an industrial power strip type thing, and it's made to move a lot of power. And I have a lot of things hooked into it, such as the lights and stuff like that. So that's why it keeps popping. But that's all right. I like it. I got about 120 amps. So she's pulling quite a bit because I have the heat up and I have the wire speed up. So she's working. She's doing a good job. I'm very, very impressed with it. So yeah, I got everything stable here. I like it. We're moving forward. We're moving forward slow. I know. But, you know, spring is coming, so I got to get this thing done. And once I get her done and built, I'll probably sit on it, start it, drive it once or twice, and then maybe I can find someone that wants to own it. That's the other reason why, you know, like I say, it's backyard build, whatever. But I'm going to make sure it's right, because if someone falls in love with this, I don't want to fall apart on them. So, and plus, like I said the other night, the other video, this is all scrap steel. This is, I have not bought a piece of steel yet, and you can see it's nice tubing. It's clean. So yeah, that's where we're at now, guys. That's what we're looking at so far. This is considered research and development at this point. and this is going to be for our front end. You can see where my tie rods go each side, well, where the steering links together. That's going to be an issue. I have to figure that out. And this is your main steering rod that comes from your steering wheel. I definitely have to figure that out. I might be able to run with it and use that. That's why I haven't cut that off yet. But I also might have to just cut it off and start over. But that's all good. That's part of geometry. That's one thing I never took in school and I didn't want to. And well, now it's time to learn it, I guess. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thanks for hanging out tonight. And the next time I touch it, you'll know it. Have a good night.